Hello, God is born.
So we just essentially talking about the patriarchy, which I think this is going to lean
Mhm.
into 3, where it's the forbidden to read and learn about our history. I think, and I hate that I'm just kind of picking up on this, but I will tell people, like, right now, I won't say I'm in a spiritual crisis. I will just say that my beliefs are not the traditional beliefs that I was raised with. I think they're good, they're great. I can still get very much soothed and comforted, but I like metaphysics. I like certain things, and I can't deal with people that have a scary God. Like, if God is going to send me to hell because I lit a white candle for purity, like, we're just gonna have a conversation. Me and him at the gates. Let me in. Why'd you make the candle? Like, nah, dog. You know what I was doing. I was doing some work that people before me and after me, is certain things that's gonna happen within our culture that what's said don't have to be understood. What's understood don't have to be said. Um, Abrahamic religions are very, 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 very hard on your mental, because essentially you are not being taught to see any women in any time. It's always associated with bad. Like, this doesn't make sense, because every society that I see women, like, where were the women in this first half? Like, they just, what happened with that? I don't think that
Well,
Christianity in the South, where I was raised, you were not allowed to question God or a man of God. You can't question a man of God. You don't speak ill of a man of God. Um, you don't understand. He's your direct connection between God and you. And I'm just like, I am one of those people that if you come up to me and say, "Oh, God told me to tell you," girl, no, he didn't, because he would have told me. He don't. I don't need no. I don't need that. No, thank you. Everybody's different. I'm not saying it's not a hey, but for me personally, I feel like me and the big God, we good. He'll holler at me if we
well,
talk.
well, you and I agree a lot about Paul, right? But let me say this, because I want people to hear me good. Like when I just talked about Christianity, I really want you to understand. This is actually what I wrote my thesis on for my master's. Jesus did not tell you that you needed to go through a man to get to God. Jesus said, come straight to. That's what Jesus said. You don't need no other representative or whatever. Jesus, when um, there was the case of the prostitution, Jesus held all of them accountable. The person they called Mary Magdalene, who was supposedly the prostitute, Jesus held the men accountable too. Okay? Not just her. And he did not punish her. He actually said, listen, let's not do this again. Okay? Uplifted. But amongst those men, he held her sacred, protected, and then when he had his private conversation, held her uplifted.
Well,
And
because
he made sure that they didn't stone her.
but here,
Jesus never told you that he had just male disciples, because the first people who were his disciples, well, actually there were 3. It was his cousin, his mama, and there was a priestess, because the men didn't believe that Mary was pregnant with God's child. So if you really look at the Gospels, they are different from the other parts of the Bible, because Jesus has personal relationships with women that are uplifting that are holding them sacred and that are holding them protected. And the women actually held him sacred, protected, and uplifted. They also fed him. They also made sure he always had a place to stay for the next place he was going. You understand? They went with him through every part of his life. And he went with them. They weren't the ones asking dumb shit. Okay? Well, how come if I do this and God, why are you letting blah, blah, blah? Shut up. I feel like he was just telling the disciples, he was trying to show men, if anything, stop. Do you see how this woman bathed me in oil? And you know me all this time, and you ain't done shit except question and come up with dumb shit. Go read it. Okay, it doesn't say that exactly in your Bible. There's no cursing in your Bible, okay? But besides my ad libs, go read how Jesus held women sacred, protected, and uplifted. Then watch how the women held each other up, had each other's back. Because if you say you're a Christian woman, isn't that mean that you believe that Christ was born of a virgin, died, and was resurrected to bring grace and mercy, right, to the world? Then if you say the Bible, it don't say Paulanity or Peter-anity. It says Christianity, Jesus Christ. So if you are saying that you are a follower of Christ because you are a Christian, I implore you to go back and read the 4 Testaments and listen and look at how Jesus deals with women. He partners with them. He believes that they are wise. He didn't want to turn water to wine. You know why? He didn't think he was ready. But his mother said, anyway, I said, turn the water to wine. And he was like, okay. So he went and did what his mama told him to do. You understand? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He held her uplifted, sacred, and protected.
So then
that's what he did. But that's not what Paul did.
But hold on. So
okay.
That's gonna
so I think you guys, when you're in church, I want you to listen to your whoever's given the sermons. I want you to listen for how they talk about Jesus's relationship with women. And how many times does your church speak on how precious you are, not counting Mother's Day or somebody's special birthday? How often does the people in the pulpit say we got this going on with our women, and we gonna surround our women, and we gonna pray for our women, and we are gonna go door to door and do this with our women to make sure they feel boom, boom, boom. We're going to come up with a group of men in our community to make sure when our little girls and boys walk back and forth to school, they ain't got to worry about nobody rolling up on them, trying to get them to do nothing, trying to put them in a this and that and whatever. Is that what is happening in your belief system and who you're listening to? And what they're saying. Because if they're not talking about how they can uplift the very people who uplift everyone, Black women and Black girls, then I don't know what they're talking about.